There's nothing on. Let's see if I can find something to watch over here. Which one am I going to watch? I just don't know what to watch. Oh! Oh!
I'll tell you what to watch.
Oh, my leg! Hello, everybody. I'm John Coffey.
And I'm Matt.
And you're watching
Matt Reviews!
Oh! The Triumphant Return! Where you been?
I died.
Oh.
Yeah.
What happens? I don't even remember what the last movie we reviewed was. I'm not even pretend like I know.
Was it the Red Hood?
I don't know, but we're back with some more Batman goodness.
Yeah.
And at the end of this video, we're going to reveal what our summer series is going to be. Because last year was the summer of camp. We got one this summer. But we're saving that at the end of the video. For now, we're talking
Batman.
It's
too boring.
The Dark Knight Returns Part 2.
Yeah.
We've not seen Part 1.
We skipped it.
Man, it's alright. I read the book. I got him caught up. This is an adaptation of the absolutely classic and one of the most important pieces in American literature. I'm going to be on a comic book. I'm saying, forget Mark Twain.
Ooh.
Forget Ernest Hemingway.
Ooh.
Think Frank Miller. The Dark Knight Returns. This is the Part 2. What happened in the first one was the return of Batman after a 10-year hiatus due to the government putting a ban on vigilante costumed heroes, much like The Watchmen. That was kind of a theme in the 80s. But Gotham's being overrun by a gang known as the Mutants. So Batman decides to take it upon himself to return and clean up Gotham. He fights Two-Face, Harvey Dent.
Joker.
And he fights, not from the Part 1.
Oh, okay.
And he fights the Mutants. And we pick up in Part 2 as now the Joker has returned. So the first half of the movie is dealing with the Joker. The second half of the movie is dealing with a nuclear fallout bomb on the shores of Gotham that blacks out the city. Batman kind of cleans everything up. Government don't like that because he's doing what they couldn't do. So they send none other than
Superman
to come and take out Bruce Wayne. So that's the plot for Dark Knight Returns Part 2. And I'm going to start this off with a huge spoiler. Bruce Wayne's Batman. Alright, anyways. What do you think about the Dark Knight Returns Part 2?
Pretty good. Alright, let's go.
So, alright, seriously.
Pretty good movie. The artwork and then this is pretty well done.
It's very close to the book. I have read Dark Knight Returns, the book.
So the face is a little wonky, like
well,
that like blanc face.
It's based off of 80s comic book art, and 80s comic book art looks a certain way, you know?
Yeah, and like they have a lot
very
of
exaggerated body
yes.
types. Like Batman's like, you know?
Even though he's like 60.
Superman's hands are like that big, you know?
Yeah, and Alfred just he is.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this may be my favorite Batman adaptation of all time. More so than the Dark Knight trilogy, more so than Batman the Animated Series, more than Tim Burton's Batman, way more than Adam West's Batman, and way more than Joe Schumacher's Batmans.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, like, it doesn't do the book page for page, which is okay.
Yeah, you don't want anything to do the same. So.
But it's a faithful enough adaptation, and it takes all the great moments of the book and brings them to life in a way that I think anyone who was a fan of that book didn't think was possible.
Well, of course, I didn't read the book. I haven't got a chance to read it. Well, I didn't even know you had it.
Okay, fine, keep going.
Like, it's been a while since I've actually like read comic books and stuff. It's been about a couple months, which is kind of hard to say. But I'm trying to pick back up on that and a couple other things. But so far with this movie, like, it has a lot of cool things in it, like Joker. I think Joker's as crazy as usual, and Batman old. He's old.
I mean, that's what the story is. It's a story of an aging Batman trying to find a sense of place.
Who has heart attacks.
Batman is played by none other than Peter Weller.
Ooh.
RoboCop himself. Peter Weller. How do you think he did as Batman?
He did pretty good. I actually I thought he'd be him acting RoboCop.
He's a pretty dry actor, but I think he actually does really, really well with the Batman.
Well, Batman is kind of.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the characters from Lost who played Joker. I thought he did phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
I do have a few issues with the voice acting in this movie. I think some of the deliveries of the lines, the director should have had him put a little more emotion into it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's fine.
Yeah, this one's a lot gorier than most of the Batmans I've seen.
It's based on the Dark Knight Returns, which is a very gritty book. I think the book goes further both emotionally and graphically than even the movie does.
Like there's parts where little spoiler thing, a guy gets his head ripped off, kind of like blown to bits.
Well, Joker killed a ton of people, and I mean a ton of people in this movie.
Someone smashes a glass in someone's throat.
Yeah, he's running down the tunnel of love, just shooting couples.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
He's like, oh.
In Joker, I mean,
we have nasty looking kids. Well, one looks okay, but the other one's messed up in the face. Like, oh no.
Joker is, my favorite villain, as is Batman's my favorite comic book series of all time. But
yeah.
Joker is my favorite villain, not just in comic book, but in anything. And it's very important to capture that cynical funniness of the Joker. And, and it does well, In the book, he's very Joker. He's funny, but at the same time, he's evil and dark,
Yeah, and...
he has some great lines in it when he's like, I thought I was Batman's psychotic obsession,
Yeah, and then he says this, how do you feel about killing over 600 people, right? He says, well, I don't know. I'm gonna kill every single one in this room.
I love the line in the movie where him and Batman are dueling it out, and he's like, I'm gonna make you pay for everyone I murdered by not stopping you. He's like, I never kept count. He's like, well, I did. He's like, that's why I love you.
Also, is this a spoiler? Is it the spoiler tell about the
Shuriken?
Yeah, the throw.
Minor spoiler coming up. Nothing major.
But in most of the Batman comics and movies, Joker he has the gun to someone's head. Batman throws the thing and it knocks it out.
Yeah.
But this time, Batman's
playing for keeps this time.
Yeah. And right now he's just I don't care. I'm gonna if I could, I would kill you. And he grabs the thing and throws it into his eye. He goes, oh, are you insane?
It's a very awesome moment because it humanizes the Joker for a few seconds. Where even he's like, really? All right.
He says,
we're playing for keeps this time,
Says, have you lost your mind?
It's a very awesome moment.
It also catches the shoulders.
I haven't seen part 1, so I can't comment on part 1, but I hear this is the better of the 2 parts. And I can't imagine part 1 is going to be better than...
Well, you said you've already watched this 2 or 3 times.
I have. This is my 3rd viewing of it. I love it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy both of them on Blu-ray. They're fantastic films. They're fun. Very short, hour 16.
It's not that bad.
That's maybe one thing I actually do have a problem with. I think it moves at too fast of a pace. I think they could have swooped the brakes on a little bit and kind of developed.
But of course you know how I am. I like fast-paced movies.
But I think with the book, there's a lot of emotional aspects to it that I don't think they've dialed in as deep in the movie as they do in the book. But overall, it's a fantastic, like I said, maybe my favorite Batman adaptation of all time.
Yeah.
I think it's the truest adaptation of Batman.
Yeah. Like you're talking about the comic book, Batman's fighting cops and stuff. He's oh my heart.
Well, they play it as what it is. Batman's just a vigilante, man.
Yeah, he's fighting the cops and stuff. And he told me in the book, he's he's narrating over it. He's like, oh my heart. Yeah,
there's one thing that a lot of fans were in uproar about until they saw the movie and realized that it was a really good movie. Was that they took all of the inner monologue of Batman out, which I do feel is good and bad. It's good for one thing because it isn't really needed in a movie. It's needed in a comic book because you can't. I mean, you can show emotion in a character's face, but you can't show changing emotion because you get a panel. Unless you're gonna show like a panel.
Unless you're gonna make it like a comic book that long.
Yeah, exactly. Then you need that monologue to let it know. But like in the movie, you know, he can be fighting and be like, oh, you know. So it's not necessarily. But at the same time, there's a lot of really good, rich moments in the inner monologue that are, I think, missed, but not so missed that it's like, oh gosh. But I mean, like, I'll be real honest with you. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. It's a fantastic series of films.
It's probably my favorite.
Yeah, they're great. But I think the animation adaptation of the Batman movies are better. You have Batman Under the Red Hood, which we both loved.
Yeah, it was really good.
Batman Year One, which is a fantastic adaptation of a Frank Miller graphic novel. And now Dark Knight Returns. They're three fantastic films. Maybe that's the real Dark Knight trilogy, you know?
well, one of them takes place in present, and the other one takes place in the future.
And one takes place in the past.
Yeah.
The very beginning of Batman.
Twilight Zone.
But you know what I mean? Like, and I hate this. It's not me putting down the Batman, what is his name? Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. They're fantastic movies. But personally, I just like these better. Maybe because they're taking straight, like, everyone, when they do a Batman movie, they want to put their stamp on Batman. This is just taking Frank Miller's wonderful book and bringing it to life, you know?
Yeah, Christopher Nolan watches. He's over at the window.
I ain't taking nothing away from Christopher Nolan.
Hey, he's at the window.
I ain't taking nothing away from Christopher Nolan. I love those movies. They're fantastic. But I'm just saying, these, personally to me, I enjoy them more. They feel more like Batman to me, you know?
Yeah, like, I know what you're saying, but I like the Dark Knight trilogy a lot better. It just...
Well, that's fine.
Like, I love this movie, don't get me wrong. This movie was amazing. But the Dark Knight trilogy,
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It just holds its place in my heart.
But you also don't read as much Batman as I do.
Yeah, but...
The one thing I always had a problem with Nolan's movies was taking anything comic book other than wearing costumes out of it.
Well...
You know what I mean? Like, he almost was like, I don't want to make comic book movies, but I like the character Batman, you know? That's not... I love those movies. Like, love those movies. So, before we get on tangent, let's move on from that. The score, the acting, the animation, it's all beautiful, but let's get this movie rating. What are you going to give Dark Knight Returns Part 2?
I'm going to give it 4.5.
I'm giving it 4.5 as well.
Two
thumbs up. We're going to get sued for that. It's just going to Ebert.
Oh.
It's alright, I don't care.
Why, John?
So now that we've talked about the Dark Knight Returns, talking about our summer series.
Alright.
We didn't feel like watching bad movies again.
Oh, God. I didn't even do it at the very end. I was like, God,
yeah.
I can't stand it anymore.
We ended up skipping like 3 weeks and just doing the commentary.
I fell asleep during one of them.
What will we be doing this season is classic films.
Yes. We're not talking about classics where chop your head off or anything like that. We're talking about black and white classics.
And not just horror movies either.
Well, they're not all going to be like white. But
yeah, they're not all going to be like white. We'll probably 1930s till 70s. No movies past 1970 something.
Sounds good.
And we're going to review stuff like, the Dracula.
Well,
We're going to move and talk about films like White Zombie.
Did we talk about Invisible Man?
Invisible Man. Well, we did Invisible Man already. We're going to talk Universal Monsters. We're going to talk about Bruce Lee films, probably.
Also, Vincent Price
movies. All culminating at the end with a fan commentary of Frankenstein.
Yes!
Which I now have on my arm. So yeah, that's how this summer's gonna roll. Hopefully. Now, be forewarned, I am currently looking for jobs, so that will affect.
Yeah, like you might not see this room anymore.
Well, you'll see.
If you get a.
If I get a house, but I gotta get a job before I can get a house.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, what's gonna happen is more likely one review a week. Normally, when we do a special series, we do multiple reviews a week. This time, just one a week.
I mean, that's 4 weeks, right? Like, confused.
It's gonna start April. It starts next month. It goes to like August.
Oh, sorry.
It's all summer long.
I got a track. I'm sorry.
So the summer of the classics. Like I said, it's gonna be 1930s to the 1970s. Like that classic era of filmmaking.
I was talking about Halloween this day. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem
I mean,
right.
I do consider a lot of films from the 1980s classic, but once you start hitting 1980s, you start getting into more of the modern era.
Yeah, we don't want modern. We want.
Although 1980s isn't modern, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
70s is like the last of that real classical style of filmmaking. So 30s to 70s, that's what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna look for reviews of like Enter the Dragon, Seven Samurai, all the not all, but the Universal monster movies.
Not all the universe.
Not all of them, literally. Maybe some Hammer stuff. We're gonna talk about all kinds of good
Some
stuff.
Vincent Price stuff, and also a lot of fitting getting it out.
Boom. So I'm John Coffey, Mordecai and Rigby,
Adventure Time.
and you're
Watching that movie.
I actually wanted you to say your name, but that worked. See
Oh,
y'all
Matt.
later.